everyone, it's Sharona from Payorwait. So today I'm going to be recapping the Love is Blind Season 4 reunion, which wasn't live like it was supposed to be because of the technical difficulties. But we finally made it, y'all. It's finally in our accounts. We ain't got a bootleg watching no more. Okay, it's legit now. Before I get into this recap, I do want to let you know that I had the chance to interview the cast of Love is Blind Season 4. Go check that interview out. I'll link it in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and get into this, okay? Because I have a lot of thoughts about the reunion. Really what I think they should do going forward in order just to make sure that we don't go into what happened today. I think we should just be done with the live. We should be done with the live reunions. And really not for the technical difficulties, but I do think that it just comes off a little bit better how things are cut. You know, I just think it runs a little bit smoother if it is pre-recorded. And I think also, too, it does give time to add additional responses. And also, too, just kind of have clips and evidence, like when people try to lie to get out of things, like people was lying on the stage, trying to get out of stuff. You know, just roll that tape back. Go ahead, you know what? Hey, go ahead and play that clip, okay? Because we just had time to rehearse some of these things. And it just makes for a smoother run of show. But I'm going to start with Brett and Tiffany. Because I do feel as though that Brett and Tiffany did get shortchanged in the reunion. I understand that they weren't toxic and they didn't have drama like all of the other couples, but I will have to say that Brett and Tiffany's love story is like what really kept me invested because, you know, you actually have a couple that you can watch and be like, damn, like, I want what they have. Like, y'all sitting up here talking about Sierra's prayer. I want Tiffany's prayer because just the relationship is just so wholesome. It feels so authentic to watch. And actually hearing the stories, like how Tiffany moved to be with him in Portland, how Brett was actually driving 3 hours to Seattle and 3 hours back in order to visit her, like because he didn't live in the same city as Tiffany. Also, too, it just brought so much more meaning to him driving to come see her after getting off of work and she was having a bad day. I just thought that all of those like little tidbits and extra things that we got to find out, it just made me love them even more. I ain't gonna lie, I teared up a little bit because I was like, Lord, when is it gonna be my turn? But I did like the story about how Marshall was kind of playing matchmaker between Brett and Tiffany, and I just really like Brett and Marshall's friendship just in general. I was dying when like Nick was like, oh, so y'all had the quickie? Because when Vanessa was like, we got the footage of the bridal suite, I said, hold on, this not Netflix After Dark. What are we doing right now? And then they cut to Tiffany sleeping. I was just like, now y'all know y'all wrong for that. Let's not do this, okay? But I didn't like how I felt like they kind of got cut off. Brett was like in mid-sentence when he was telling the story about the photo shoot. And then they just segued into Kwame and Chelsea. And I was like, well, could we have spent more than just a couple of seconds with them? Like, was that too much? Was I asking for too much? I felt like this is the one non-toxic couple in the whole cast. Just stay on them for a little bit longer. I felt like they got shortchanged. And I know it's hard because they don't have drama going on like everybody else. But I just feel like we could have gave them something. Like, just a little bit of time. More than the 5 minutes that they got. Dang. So let's talk about Kwame and Chelsea, because I'm not going to lie, y'all. They had my nerves back the entire time. Kwame and Chelsea I will say a lot of this cast came off to me that they had a lot of media training. They had a lot of rehearsed answers for questions that they assumed that they were going to have. And I think because of that, the reunion didn't feel as authentic to me. And that also has something to do with like kind of having the heat for the wrong people. But with Kwame and Chelsea, it was just giving, why are y'all lying like this? Because even from what you're saying, it still doesn't match with the footage that we actually saw. And I didn't like the whole thing of how it was implied by Chelsea that, you know, production had a narrative of what they were trying to portray in Mexico. Because I'm just like, that narrative would not exist if Kwame was actually being respectful to you, his fiance at the time. They wouldn't even be able to have to make this narrative if he would have just minded his business and left Micah alone like he should have done after she broke up with him. But when Kwame said, I knew the day of the Calvin Klein shoot that I was going to marry her. Why you lying? Why you lying like this? And why did nobody, I felt like the question should have been asked, Kwame, you literally spent the entire season talking about how you feel smothered by Chelsea, how you feel like she doesn't compromise, how you feel as though that she doesn't take your needs to heart, that she really doesn't listen to you. Like, you literally complained about Chelsea the entire season to the point where everybody was shocked when you actually said yes. So for y'all to sit up here and try to look like you're so happy in love, and granted, they could be happy in love. It's been a year since, you know, the footage that we saw, but I feel like that should have been addressed, because you're not going to sit up here and play in my face on this reunion and act like I knew I was going to marry her. You literally had Chelsea asking you in the episode before the wedding, and you paused. You said that there was things that she did that gave you had to think about it. Like, so why are we selling this fake story? Like, this don't even make sense. So they show a meeting. They show this clip of Micah and Chelsea, like, actually meeting up and kind of discussing what happened. And I thought it was really interesting because Chelsea made the comment that Kwame told her that he was going to break up with Micah anyway. And I'm like, where would you get that from? So you watched this season and you saw my man's was hurt. My man's did a whole business voice. Like, my man's was trying to save face. He was emotionally distraught. He was going to propose to Micah, okay? And you going to tell me that he told you that he was going to break up with her? Have it make sense. And I low-key felt bad for Micah outside of she didn't get the smoke that she deserved to get. Because Micah, you could tell by Micah's face that she knew Kwame was lying. Like, why you lying? And I was happy that Nick asked the question, okay, so if that's the case, if you're going to break up with her, talk about, I had a breakup letter and everything. You don't stop lying. You don't stop lying on Al Gore's internet like this. So you said that you had that, but Nick was like, so why was you so emotional? Like, if you was going to break up with someone, what was you so emotional for? Well, she just did it so abruptly. Like, I felt like we did have a connection. And I was just like, but you said you said you was done anyway because you want to be with Chelsea. So what's the truth and what's the lie? Because it seems like you're lying. And because Micah don't want the smoke that she actually deserves, she wasn't going to say nothing. She was trying to be quiet so wouldn't nobody be coming for her. And I guess her plan worked overall. So Kwame did accept accountability as a man and apologize to Chelsea and apologize to her family, because at the end of the day, your behavior was highly inappropriate. So Chelsea, for you to make this whole thing like they were trying to push a narrative, no, your husband was inappropriate from jump. And they needed to play the clips of you sitting up here talking about you didn't care about Micah, you was done. Every time you saw Micah, you were asking her, was she happy? Like, you was ready to run away with her. Like, let's get real. And I was like, where are the clips? Like, this is easy. Somebody play the clip. Just pull it up. Because, like, he's lying right now. Catch him in his lie. I don't even understand, like, how they really sat up here. Like, it felt like I was watching a Get Out episode. And Kwame and Chelsea were just going to play the picture perfect couple as if we didn't watch all 12 of these episodes. Like, that don't even make sense to me. Like, my mind is still really blown that they let Chelsea and Kwame get away with this foolishness. But shout out to their PR, because, baby, you coached them well, okay? You coached them real well. So, also, too, we see that Chelsea met Kwame's mom during Thanksgiving, and so that was good. I thought it was weird that he even needed to clarify the sister thing, because I felt like the question that should have been asked was this beef with your mom, was it real? Because it felt like she was never really on the phone. I felt like that was more believable than them saying that wasn't his sister, because his sister she was just so beautiful, so wholesome. She was just like really supportive. I thought it was disrespectful to even bring that up. I didn't even know that was a thing personally. But when Nick asked the question, like, you know, how did it feel seeing how many people were shot, that he said that, you know, y'all got married. And Chelsea wanted to take this question and give a response that had nothing to do with what Nick asked. And I was like, but girl, that was for Kwame. We knew you was going to say yes. That was for him. And also the comment when she was like, well, you know, Chelsea, me and Micah, we were in love with the same man. Like, Chelsea, let's be clear. Micah has not been, nor will ever be in love with Kwame. So you was fighting for Kwame by yourself. Like, I really want you to stop this narrative. But Kwame, I kind of want you to speak up, because you're kind of just letting Chelsea do all the talking for you. And I just don't believe it. Like, you're not going to bamboozle me. I felt like they should have went in a little bit harder about Kwame, talking about how he felt like smothered, how he felt like she wasn't really listening or being supportive about the whole mom situation. It really annoyed me that they let them get away with that foolishness in the first place. But let's go to Bliss and Zach. You know what? I know I've been the harshest critic of Bliss and Zach. But I will say, watching the reunion, I truly believed in their love. I do still feel as though they should have asked the question about like why he chose Irina in the first place. And I would have really loved to understand, because I felt like he was dismissive of Bliss's feelings about feeling like she was the second choice. I really wanted to get his perspective after watching all the terrible things Irina did to the girls and how she behaved. Like, how did you feel watching that, knowing that you chose her over your wife? Because that's a little crazy. And I like the fact that we just skipped through all of that. It didn't make sense to me. But I was happy that if anyone had the smoke, it was Zach, who told Irina and Micah basically, like, y'all were doing this to be famous, because absolutely they were. And Irina's like, when she had these tears, child, when she started with these tears, I said, girl, how you got these tears that not even showing up? You sit up here crying, and there's no tears falling down. She was just like, just need a moment. Just need a moment. And I'm just like, girl, the moment for what? Like, you're a mean girl. There's no reason you should be crying. I have no sympathy for you. I wish you nothing but growth as a person. But these like rehearsed responses that your publicist gave you to like read off or memorize and say, it just was given nothing. And I felt like it was also disrespectful of them to go in on Irina and not give Micah that smoke, because Micah was there in every last one of them scenes, being a mean girl, laughing at these women whose hearts were being broken as they were going through this process, because neither one of them really cared about finding anyone. They were just in a battle to get on TV. Like, and they really didn't even call them out on that. So I was happy that Zach was actually the one that spoke up, you know, and he said, I forgive you, and I hope that America, like, that the world forgives you as well. But he was just like, I posted my own receipts on Instagram. I was like, y'all gotta stop with this. I posted receipts, and I be going to y'all Instagram, and it don't be given, which I said it was gonna be given as far as the receipts. So I need you to stop hyping me up. Stop gassing me up, because y'all don't be posting real receipts, okay? So, but Bliss and Zach look happy. Bliss looked beautiful, to be honest. She was gorgeous. So I was like, okay, girl, I see you. I see you, Bliss, and happy that the daddy paid for the honeymoon. They cool now. I guess the daddy just wanted to make sure that, you know, it was actually going to last. So yeah. But I did like that Irina made a comment that was a little unsettling, because it made it seem like the whole cast was kind of like production was trash, and they were basically piecing stuff together at different times, which is TV. That's what's going to happen, honey. And it gave us entertaining television this season. But she made it seem like, I didn't like the comment when she said she didn't feel safe with that, because I was just like, girl, like, you want to be a victim so bad. Why do you want to be a victim so bad? And it's not given what you think is given. And I just didn't like how she alluded that production told her she had to fly to Mexico to have a conversation with Zach, because that just didn't make sense to me. Like, so basically they bullied you to go on this trip. They bullied you into an additional episode of TV. Tell the truth, Irina. Tell the truth, shame the devil, okay? That didn't make no sense to me, but do what you do. But I was happy that Vanessa called her out and was like, hey, like, you've been bullied. So you were fully aware of what you did, and she tried to make it a whole mental health thing, which I feel like that kind of discounts those who are suffering from mental health. I don't think, like, I just felt like she just wanted to be a victim some way, somehow, and that this was the only way she felt she can absolve herself from just being a mean girl the entire season. Now, I like how they had the montage of what Micah and Irina did, but they didn't have this montage for everybody else, like all the crazy stuff that they did. But I was happy that Bliss, like, called her out on sending that DM, texted her that, like, you dodged your bullet, but then messaging Zach, like, apologizing to him. I'm just like, girl, like, it's just too much. And when Bliss was like, this is just a blip in our love story, and it's been over a year, and I just want to be done talking about it. Well, we're not going to be done, Bliss. We're not going to be done, because this just happened for all of us in the past 4 weeks. So we need you to step it up and tell us the story, okay? Like, that tea you gave us about the DM, that's what I need, honey. You're on the right track. But all of this, like, Bliss, Chelsea, I don't want to hear that. I'm tired of hearing that. Y'all signed up for a reality television show. You know exactly what you got yourself into. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to talk about it. I've grown. I'm a bigger person. Marshall, I'm a better person. No. This is the only time you can talk about it and not come off as a terrible person. Stop doing that. I don't even understand. I said I'm going to let them stress me out. I say I wasn't gonna let them stress me out. But since we talk about people that stress me out, let's talk about Paul and Micah. Because this was a perfect example on how, of all the people on my bingo card getting the smoke from the host, it was not Paul. Paul got all this smoke. First of all, I did like how Paul was like, I'm secure in my relationship. Like, so when they tried to ask about the whole Micah and Kwame thing, like, yeah, I'm secure, so I don't care, because I don't want Irina, and ain't nobody worried about Kwame, because, like, at least Paul knew, he already knew that she didn't like him either, but, like, she don't even like me, so I know she don't like Kwame. So I hate that they brought up the video of Paul being accused of touching one of Micah's bridesmaids, like, of touching her hand, her butt. I was just like, it's just so inappropriate, because you never actually see him touch her butt. And then for y'all to allude that this man would be bold enough to do this on camera, like in front of Micah, in front of Micah's mama, in front of Micah's friends, like that was a bit much. I just felt like it was no point to even bring that up. But then we get Micah's fake crocodile tears. She's like, I need a moment. Girl, it ain't no tears. What you touching? What you wiping? It ain't no tears. Cause you don't care. She gets me so stressed out. Okay, so she made a comment. She said, I would have told Paul yes. That's a lie, okay? Honestly, I'd be like, hook them up to lie detector tests at this point, because it's really just it's very concerning how, like, blatantly they lie to our faces, and her saying that, like, I would have told Paul yes, then do a lie detector test. That's what I would be doing for the reunion. Hey, y'all gonna be hooked up to lie detector tests, because I don't have time to be playing with y'all today. So we finna do a lie detector test reunion. Hook your behinds up, like, buckle up, okay? Because we finna get some real answers, all right? So she sent up her telling these lies. Now, what I didn't like about this whole segment with Paul and Micah was how Micah was blatantly lying on Paul. When she said that Paul wasn't giving truthful responses, like if somebody asked him why he liked Micah, like he didn't have anything to say with her friends, and I was like, this is another moment where we roll the tape of those dumbass questions that Shelby and the other friend was asking, and he gave thoughtful answers to these questions that I would have been like, I'm not answering this dumbass question. Like, I got better things to do with my day. Like, he better than me. She was lying. Once again, we're trying to be a victim, and we're not a victim. So, also too, one of the things that did bother me was when I think Vanessa got upset by, now Paul did drag Micah for Phil, and Micah did have a point that when he made the comment about he couldn't see her being nurturing to their children or having children with her, I do feel like Micah was right that Paul should have had that conversation. Like, you can't make a statement like that and not have had that conversation sometime during this 3-week process. And especially if that was one of the reasons why you said no, ultimately, I don't think that's fair to her that you had that thought or viewpoint of her. She had absolutely no idea. So she found out when the rest of the world finds out why you said no. What I didn't understand was with Vanessa when she took offense to what was said. Because last time I checked, we spent a whole 5 minutes talking about how Micah and Irina were disgusting in their behavior towards the other women in the house, how we show all this B-roll of them just being terrible people, of watching her friends that she still defends to this day who were laughing at her pain and her heartbreak. We are watching her defend these nasty friends of hers, defend like their nasty behavior that her and Irina had. Not defend because she apologized for it, but I don't see how you watch that footage, you watch this entire season, and then you sit up here and take offense that he said he didn't find her nurturing. That's not somebody that I would want to procreate with. That doesn't mean that she can't grow and be a great candidate to be a mom. But judging how she is now, that's not somebody I would be wanting to bring children into the world. And I didn't like her trying to play victim and talk about her mom having complications with having children, how like she was almost not there. I didn't like that either, because that's once again like what happened with your mother. And I'm happy that she was able to bring you into this world. That has nothing to do with your behavior and how an adult, a man, would see that behavior and not want to have kids with you. I didn't think that there was anything wrong. Now, if y'all feel like I'm wrong, y'all can go ahead and call me out in the comment section below. We can talk about it, honey. But I didn't think, I was just really perplexed as to why we were so shocked that Paul would have that type of thinking. And then how hard they went in on Paul. I was happy that Zach stood up for him. I was like, damn, like, it's Paul, y'all. This man don't make decisions lightly. My man was stressed out the whole time. trying to figure out a decision on what he was going to do. So I didn't understand what was so bad about what he said. Could he have said it better? Yeah, he dragged her for filth at the end. Even I was shocked that Paul had that in him. But yeah, I don't know why they went so hard on Paul. It really didn't make sense to me. It still doesn't make sense to me. And I didn't like how they missed that Micah said when she was like, you didn't tell me about this, like during the process after the wedding or after we dated after the wedding. And I was like, they dated? And they never followed up on that. I mean, 10 minutes later, they asked the question. I'm like, did you not hear her say that already? Follow up in the moment. You got to listen. When you're interviewing people, you got to listen so you can follow up. They might say some stuff that you got to go off track and kind of follow that up real quick. That's just me. I don't know. It's too much. Okay. So, Marshall, Josh, and Jackie. There has to be something in the contracts going forward that everyone has to show up. I thought that this was very cowardly. I know that they're talking about they received death threats. I'm pretty positive that Netflix will have enough security to make sure that nothing would happen. But also, I just feel like it was so disrespectful to show the montage of Josh and Jackie with Marshall sitting there, almost like you celebrate their journey without recognizing that it had to be Marshall's pain for them to get to where they were. I just feel like it was so disrespectful to even give them a montage of their love. The whole interview, letting them even do an interview. I feel like if you didn't show up, you don't get to do it. Or I feel like Marshall should have actually been there for the interview, because it just didn't make sense to me why you would do this interview, but then you still wouldn't let Marshall be able to say his piece to them as well. I feel like you robbed Marshall kind of his closure, of being able to address a lot of things, especially since his masculinity was attacked time after time after time again. Now, that doesn't mean that Marshall was absolved from any of his behavior after finding out through what Jackie said that, Marshall said basically said she looked like a man. She has features of a man, which I thought was disrespectful too. But for you to not hold Jackie's feet to the fire for anything, like, that just didn't make sense to me. Like, they really interviewed them like this they favorite couple, like, we go kiki, ha-ha, and letting her say that basically Marshall was dating somebody else and he wanted the ring back to give to the other person. Why do you want to keep? I would have been like, Josh, how do you feel that she wants to keep another man's wedding ring? I would, as someone who's dating her, why were you okay with that? Like, why do you even condone that behavior? And then for her to be like, I'm grown, I'm a different person. If y'all go check out the interview, she literally called Marshall a simp. Literally went in, okay? And it's just crazy to me that they didn't look at any of the footage. You say you're a changed person. It's been a year, but just 3 weeks ago, like, you did press and you was going in on Marshall the entire time. So how are you this changed person if literally not even a month ago you were going in on this man? So that don't even make sense to me either. I just felt like there was no accountability for Jackie. Like, Vanessa just let all that go. I don't know if that's her fave, if there's other stories, because I also kind of got the vibe there's just other stories that we don't know about what happened with filming. So, yeah, and I feel like for her to go after Marshall. Now, Marshall wasn't his feelings, because he was like, yeah, what's up? Like, you could tell he was already upset from watching the video, which I would have been upset too. Personally, I would feel disrespected. But she did need to follow up with the whole him dating somebody else in the pods. Like, I'm glad she followed up on that. But for him to for her to ask Marshall, I don't know, I just felt like she interrogated Marshall like he was the only person that was wrong in the situation. And I think they're both wrong. I think Marshall probably did say some crazy stuff to her on camera. And it does come off that Marshall does have a temper that we just don't see. And I think that they were both wrong. But I also think it was wrong to attack Marshall. And I like that he spoke up and said, I've been disrespected so many times through this entire season. I was disrespected again today. Like, this she's come for my masculinity. I don't know how many times. Like, they brought up text messages to him, but they didn't bring up the text messages of her and what she leaked with her group chats. They didn't bring that up at all in the conversation that Vanessa had with Josh and Jackie. So then they talk about how he was drunk because I was trying to cut weight, and I'm just like, why are we even talking? Like, who cares? You was drunk. Fine. You were drunk. That's not even the most important part. But Jackie did say the production basically lied on her because she said she broke up with Josh before she actually broke up with Marshall. But when Vanessa was like, well, what's the final straw that broke things off with you? I was like, the final straw? Yeah, like this man was like going in on her or something, or like he was the one being trifling. That doesn't make sense to me. I was really confused by that. I was just like, is there some backstory that we just don't know? Is there something that like we didn't get to see? Because I just wanted to know why Vanessa had all that smoke for Marshall. It didn't make sense to me, okay? It didn't. But I was happy that Nick brought up all the stuff that she was talking about online. And when Marshall was like, I'm going to take the high road, I was like, Marshall, I get that you're trying to be the better man, but this is the time that you can actually speak your piece. And I think that you need to, I feel like you've been silenced enough, then you should just say how you feel. And I think that's okay. But when he mentioned he tried to call it a truce before, I was like, I needed y'all to follow up on that. So you tried to squash things and they didn't want to squash things. I needed you to follow up on that. So I just felt like it got to be in contracts that everybody got to show up. I can't even believe that they let them not show up to this reunion. The most toxic person, the like biggest villain of Love is Blind history, they just got out of even having to show up. That's really mind-boggling to me. It's still crazy. Couple of things. I love when they did the little montage of the couples, and it was so cute when Tiffany woke up when Brett caught her sleeping. I love that all the couples hang out and they vacation together, that they're friends. I want to know what Chelsea and Kwame do because that view was nice. I was like, okay, we got money. All right. What's going on? But the song that Zach sung to Bliss, that was cute. Now, Nick know he was lying. He was like, you did good. I was like, Nick, don't be lying like that. Like, come on, bruh. Like, I know you try to be nice, but let's take it down a notch. Make it seem believable. So, Micah and Irina try not to laugh at the song of Zach singing to Bliss. Like, I know y'all wanted to laugh. Like, I know it took everything in them to, like, hold that down. I'm shocked that there wasn't even more pink in Chelsea and Kwame's place. But I have a really serious question. And I just want to know who thinks that we care about anything that's happening with Bathwater, okay? AKA Bartiz, even though I do not speak that person's name, is going to be forever Bathwater to me. I don't care about Bartiz, AKA Bathwater, and that baby. Shout out, the baby was cute, okay? Shout out to the baby. You know, I love kids. But I don't care. Y'all could have had the actual married couples and not someone who deserved to get more smoke than what he got on his reunion. Like, stop. Don't do that. I don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Okay? Stop shoving bathwater down our throats because I really didn't understand that. Now, as far as what needs to happen for future reunions, I do feel like it's time for a mix-up. I do feel like it's time to get a new host. And I think that Nick and Vanessa can still do the show, right? Like, they're doing the intros. I think that's still cool. I just think for the reunion, they just need a different host. I think they need someone who aren't celebrities, someone who are journalists, that they can ask the questions that the audiences want to hear, who may not have such a close connection to the actual cast of the show. I also think that we need therapy components added into this, that there has to be a clause in the contract that you have to show up to the reunion. You have to be open to talking about anything, or you forfeit your money or whatever they get paid or whatever happens. Because I just think now they're just letting the contestants become a little bit out of control. And I think it's a bit much at this point. And I think something has to change because this is now the third reunion where I just felt like the reunion could have been so much better. And this honestly should have been the best reunion yet. And I don't know why they're just letting a lot of this stuff go. Because I feel like every reunion, everyone's always asking for it to be recasted. And I think this season in particular, like, you needed to ask certain questions. I do think that they were better than previous seasons, but I just felt like there was clearly biases in place before we even start rolling for the reunion. So I'll be very interested to see if they feel like they need to make changes for next season on what's going to happen. But I do think it's time for a shakeup. It's been 4 seasons. We got to figure it out because this ain't it. This just not it. So I will be excited to know what you think in the comment section. Did you love the reunion? Did you hate the reunion? I know y'all upset about the technical difficulties, but I'm just talking about what actually happened in the reunion, y'all, okay? Be respectful. And make sure you go check out my interview with the cast. But those are my thoughts of Love is Blind Season 4, Episode 13, the reunion. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. As always, my name is Sharona from payorwait, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again, bye.